As a new day dawns at the San Diego Wild Animal Park, it's time for morning greetings and preparing the first feeding.
Good morning, Carol. How are you? There you go, gang.
Are you starving?
Feeding the more than 4,000 hungry mouths and beaks for a year takes quite a menu. 32,000 cases of fruit and vegetables, 1,300 gallons of goat's milk, 2,000 pounds of mealworms, 3 million crickets, 90,000 pounds of meat, 13,000 bales of hay, and more than 100 tons of bird feed. Debbie Gungle is a lead bird keeper, taking care of the feathered residents in the Wild Animal Park's aviaries.
I have probably over 200 individuals to take care of and probably close to 50 species. Your first concerns in the morning when you're feeding out is just to make sure all the birds are healthy and happy and they're getting the proper diets. I can feed out live mealworms and crickets on the ground, and the birds actually come down and get pretty excited about it. Mealworms are beetle larvae. We not only feed out mealworms, but live crickets and a variety of live insects. It's not only a food source, but also an enrichment for the birds too. In the aviary, we deal with a variety of birds. And some are ground birds and some are passerines, which are going to perch up in the trees. With nesting, it's all different. Some may require a lot of nesting material, which we have to provide for them in this enclosure. The variety that we have is just really a challenge, I think, for all of us as keepers, just to try to make their life a little more pleasant.
Lance Aubrey is a lead keeper who works in the park's expansive multi-acre field exhibits, where animals roam in entire herds and flocks.
Hi, girls. How you doing this morning, huh? You sleeping in? For me, and probably for most of the keepers, you have to like to work outside, which I do, and I've always liked that even when I was young. What you doing? There's your tub, okay? The main attraction for me is there's just always something different. When we come to work in the morning, we sort of have a loose idea of what the normal day is supposed to be and what the certain things are that we need to accomplish during that day. And it's just about never the same. A little bit excitable this morning. All those snorts and growls at each other is trying to let each other know who they want to be at the feeder and who they think should be away. Oh, you're such a beggar. With these rhinos and anything that you really get up close to like that, you start to develop a bond, and then you have to have that trust so that they'll be comfortable when you're up there close. Good girl, good girl.
Good morning, piggies.
Marcia Deal is responsible for the babies being hand-raised in the Animal Care Center.
When we come in at 6 a.m. in the morning, we never know really what our day is going to be like. We can have up to 30 animals on bottles at one time, so our day can be very busy.
You guys are funny. You are. Oh, okay. Okay, it's your turn.
I enjoy working with the babies, interacting with the babies. You know, you get to be hands-on, get to touch them and see them grow, watch them develop.
Oh, good job.
Marcia and the Animal Care Center staff are about to meet 2 new babies from the mountain habitat enclosure who need their special care. This morning, field keepers discovered a pair of orphaned Siberian ibex only days old.
Harry, we're leaving mountain habitat right now with 2 female Siberian ibex.
We are here. Your new family awaits.
With these ibexes, with all the animals that come to us, we take their temperature right away, and that gives us a feel for their health. We also weigh them, so that tells us how much milk that we want to feed them. With the new animals coming in, we always give them a bath and an antibiotic soap.
There's your sister. There's your sister.
And then we put them in a stall that's away from the public, so they're not frightened by all the noises and sights and sounds right off the bat. It's very difficult for us sometimes to get them to nurse off of our artificial rubber nipples and the different flavor of milk. And we don't smell like mother, of course. So we go through a lot of gyration, so to speak, to try and get them to nurse. We will try and copy or emulate what the mother would be doing. We lean over them, so they would have to look up under us like they would be looking up under the mother. She would most likely be nuzzling them on the rear while they're doing that, so patting them on their rear helps stimulate that nursing reflex. I really enjoy this job because we work with so many different species. You know, every day is different. We try not to get attached to our babies. Of course, we have our favorites. I've been asked before if I miss our babies when they leave here, and the answer is generally no, because by that time I've had a lot more come through the back door and I need the space. That just really makes you feel great when you see them healthy and happy again.
The San Diego Wild Animal Park was the dream of the director of the Zoological Society, Dr. Charles Schroeder. He envisioned a modern Noah's Ark for the Earth's endangered creatures, a sanctuary for life, birth, and the beauty of nature, spread out over 2,200 acres in the rugged San Pasqual Valley of San Diego.
We were looking for a place where we could breed animals. And to really breed them, you need an area where they can disperse and reassemble and mate and produce young.
Schroeder also wanted the public to have a chance to enjoy and learn about the more than 4,000 animals inhabiting his sanctuary. So he came up with the idea of a moving vantage point, a kind of sit-down safari that was both silent and non-polluting. In 1972, Dr. Schroeder's dream came true. On May 10th, the San Diego Wild Animal Park opened, and the Wgasa Bush Line Railway was launched.
My name's Kim. I'm your safari guide this morning, and we're going on a 5-mile journey through our version of the wilds of Asia and Africa.
On the left side of us, look up at the top hill behind us. You're going to see some forest.
And we've got some deer in the foreground under the tree. Those are Malayan sandbar. A few down in the water, too, at the water's edge.
The Wild Animal Park is around 2,200 acres. In those 2,200 acres, we have a very, very large collection of birds, mammals, and reptiles. That number's right at about 4,500 animals. About 40% of the entire collection is either threatened or endangered, which means that in the wild habitat, we are at risk of losing these species in the wild. And that is why we have the animals here at the Wild Animal Park, to breed up a population of animals that we can move from this location to other zoos worldwide. What we try to do is simulate a wild environment here at the park so the animals exhibit the same behaviors that you would see in the wild. It's much like neighborhoods that you would live in. Everybody has a neighborhood, but they all have their specific homes to go to. In this large environment, it allows the same thing. This actually increases our reproduction rate and the survival rate of our offspring. The Wild Animal Park is world-renowned for the work that we have done in rhino reproduction.
Sometimes the field exhibit animals require special attention.
Judy, I'll have you probably try and keep both of them happy with the veggies in the front. And Tori will have the scrub brush, and she'll scratch her on the belly, and that keeps them very happy.
Today, Lance and his crew are preparing to perform a kind of rhino pedicure, clipping the nails of 2 northern white rhinos.
Luckily today, the animals are in a very good place. There's no other rhinos around. There's just a few ostriches, which will probably get in the way.
Naughty. You're a good girl.
Good girls. Good girl, Nola. It's a good girl. For years and years, humans have been doing this, so they're very calm around humans, where some of the other rhinos would probably be scared and potentially charge you. These gals just sort of accept it as routine, and when people come around, it's usually a good thing. Oh, good girl. Oh, get rid of some of this excess pad on the bottom. They just like your fingernails. This is an ongoing process. With Nola's, the ends just keep tending to curl out and curl up. We used to use the brush end on the rhino, and that didn't really seem to have as good of an effect as you do if you turn it around and use the handle. And if you scratch and rub even harder with the handle, that just kind of makes them relax. They just kind of forget about what the other person is doing, and they concentrate on just having a nice belly rub, and they're all happy with that. It's really neat to not have to use any kind of tranquilizers or any sort of sedation for them and get away with this. It's pretty amazing. We're out there with them every day, and we certainly see things that they do and what they're capable of. You realize that even though they're so used to us and it's sort of like grooming a horse, they are wild animals, and there is obviously an element of danger involved there, but we try to reduce that with trying to reduce the external stimuli so that they stay peaceful. Here's one of these big cracks on this nail back here. Northern white rhinos are probably the most endangered subspecies of rhino. They're only found in the wild in one national park in Zaire. The numbers are in the mid-30s in the wild. Girls. So these guys are very special.
It's mid-morning. Everything's in place and ready to enchant the millions that come through the entrance each year. But for keepers like Charlie Tucker in the Nairobi Village exhibit area, it's the time to forge special bonds with the animals he cares for.
Natasha, hey Nadine, good girl, good girl. Now these guys are called Babirusa. These guys are in the pig family, in the suet family. They're very endangered. They come from mainly the island of Sulawesi. These guys have pretty sensitive skin, so we like to get a lanolin mineral oil based product, and 2 or 3 times a week we'll come in and we'll try and spray these guys down. Good girl. And then we can rub this into the skin, and it protects the skin and keeps it nice and moist. And you can see she's really liking this. You can see she's rubbing against my head. It really does protect the skin and keep it nice and moist and supple. This is the Lima diet. Bananas or grapes are a favorite, so we'll use those most of the time to do any kind of training or to get a good look at these girls. Morning, girls! These guys are called ring-tailed lemurs. A lot of people think because they look like raccoons, they're actually in the raccoon family, but these guys are actually in the primate family. These guys come from Madagascar, and it's the only place that you'll find the lemur species. They like a grape? Good girl. They all have different personalities. This is Butch, the female, that kind of gets pushed out the group a little bit. She's very intimidated by the other 3 females. What do you see in there? Anything you want? As you can see, they'll pretty much go anywhere for food, so we can get these guys into a crate if we need to do any medical procedures with these guys. Or yeah, you like those? It's definitely nice to come in, and they all greet you in the morning at the edge of the island, and you know, it's hard not to get kind of attached or involved with these guys. Hey, hey, sweetie. Good girl, good girl. The Red River hogs are from Western Central Africa, a pretty small population out there. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. What's up? I really like them. They're the smallest of the pig family. Obviously, the coloration, they're that bright reddy orange color. They're pretty fun to work around. They're very kind of boisterous. They like to play around. Right now, we have a male and a female in here, and then she has a young female still with her. The female right now is also pregnant. She's expecting her young within the next 2 weeks here, so she's ready. She's real close. We kind of get these guys used to being touched all over, and that way we can keep a closer eye on them for their health. The hands-on is definitely the best part of the job for me. Getting up close and personal with all the animals, whether it be the hogs, the lemurs, the babirusa, rhinos, whatever animal, that's the best part of the job for me.
Keepers aren't the only ones who get to be up close and personal with the animals.
This is Bridget. She's 8.5 months old. She is a North American opossum.
Whether it's thrilling the young ones at the petting corral,
Yeah. Do you think that's all there, Mommy? He's lying down. He likes it.
Another one. You can go find another one.
feeding nectar to the colorful lorikeets at Lorikeet Landing. Or riding a photo caravan in an open-air truck. Of course, keeping the more than 400 different species of animals healthy takes a special kind of doctor. The veterinarians at the San Diego Wild Animal Park offer their furry and feathered patients alike state-of-the-art medical care. And unlike human doctors, they even make house calls. Dr. Jack Allen's rounds take him through 2,200 acres of enclosures to treat his patients. He thinks of the Wild Animal Park just like a mini city with more than 4,000 residents.
On any given day, you've got animals who are sick, animals that are healthy, animals that are thinking about getting sick, animals that don't feel well, animals that are getting better, animals that have a broken leg, pregnant, not pregnant. So it's a little city, and we are the veterinarians here, and we get the pleasure of taking care of this little population of animals here. Just a couple other quick questions, Dave. Otherwise, is she eating okay? And her vitality and activity level seems okay, other than the slight lameness on the front?
Overall health seems good.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get close enough to take a good look. Good. Sick animals don't come to me. People with sick animals come to me. In this case, at the Wild Animal Park, it's keepers. They, in effect, have the best observations and the most current information on them, and then I have to take that information, make some kind of sense of it, and then apply that information to our animals. Taking a little bit of weight off that left front, but not real bad. So.
It's a lot better than last week.
Good. My favorite part, talking to the keepers and interacting with them and getting insight from them about the animals that they take care of. To me, that's the most important part of my day. And then the animals are the second best part. Oh, we just want to take a look, girl. That's all we want to do. This is probably as good a look as we're going to get today. All right, Violet, you get off easy today. Hey, Debbie, what do we have here?
Little white-bellied bustard chick. It was hatched 10 days ago.
Have you noticed any problems with him in there? Does he seem to be getting around okay in there?
Seems to be doing great. Parents are responding and feeding the chick regularly, it looks like.
Good. One of the most commonly asked questions is, well, what do you specialize in or what do you get to do? And the answer is I get to do everything. Seal looks good. Seems to be pretty good weight. All right, get back to you. Looks pretty darn cute to me. Let's see what he weighs today. If you're on duty that day, you take care of the hummingbird or you take care of the elephant. And to me, that's a plus. That's a wonderful thing about my job here at the Wild Animal Park.
69 grams.
An animal's weight can often indicate a change in health, but weighing a 900-pound eland is no easy task.
Come on, buddy.
Dr. Mark Edwards is the nutritionist who determines the diets of the Wild Animal Park residents.
Routine weighing is part of our regular nutritional management of the animal collection. And animals are weighed for different reasons. Some of them just a routine weighing to assess the diet that they're currently on, see how well that's working for them.
Jambia, this way.
Other animals are weighed because the animals are young and they're growing, such as the rhinos, which are hand-reared animals. There's very little information on weights of rhinos during their first, second, and third years of life. Not only are we collecting information that help with our day-to-day management, but we're trying to add to our knowledge base as to how these animals mature and develop properly. There you go.
Okay, 1,500.
Once we make the weighing part of their regular routine and we make the scale part of their regular environment, it's kind of fun for them. They really get into the interaction and the participation in the activity.
Good boy. There you go.
Keeping the Wild Animal Park animals active and mentally stimulated can be a real challenge to the keepers. But they've discovered there are many ways to pique the curiosity and natural play behaviors in the animals. For the gorillas, it starts with some frozen treats every kid loves.
Oh boy, popsicles for gorillas. The popsicles that we give them for enrichment are made up of a little bit of fruit juice mixed with water, and then we add whatever fruits or veggies that we have on hand. And we're ready to give gorillas some popsicles. We'll take out quite a number of them and then spread them throughout the exhibit so that every member has a chance to find one, sort of like an Easter egg hunt. You should be able to spot them, no problem. We'll put one right there. There's grapes on the bottom, apples and bananas. Well, gorillas are very, very intelligent animals, and they have a lot of physical capabilities. They have great grasping hands and stuff. And in the wild, they would be presented with a lot of stimulus. They would have to travel great distances to find food. They would have to be able to procure that food, to process it, to eat. There would just be a lot of variety in their daily life. So we need to provide these enriching opportunities to help them keep smart, keep active mentally and physically.
Look at the baby!
This is a troop of western lowland gorillas. You can find populations of western lowland gorillas in Central Africa. They live in rainforests and jungles. Our troop consists of an adult male silverback. He's the leader, the dominant male of the troop. We have about 5 adult females and their various offspring.
For the elephants, enrichment comes in the form of hide and seek, courtesy elephant keepers like Ed Marquez.
Okay, we'll make it a challenge for these guys. Right now, I'm providing them some goodies for them to just have fun with. We're thinking of large scale here, so I have to put out some large-sized food. For example, big old melons and celery, a batch of bananas. So it has to be very big. There you go. Make it a challenge. They're smart, they're challenging, and it keeps us on our toes of always constantly thinking about how to take care of these animals. But they're lots of fun to begin with. They have a personality. Good girl, Carol. That's a girl. Good girl, Nita. Go get your breakfast. The African elephants, of course, you could tell just by their big ears. And then the Asian elephants have small ears. The Africans actually are very high-strung. They have so much energy and they're so antsy. And the Asians, they have a lot more patience. They take their time. They're a lot slower, easygoing elephants.
And on some of those hot, lazy days of summer, the elephants may even find their enrichment treats hidden in a pile of snow.
First of all, they're curious. They don't know what it is. So they'll venture over there and kind of explore a little bit. But once they get the idea, oh, it's just snow. Oh, this is kind of fun. You could eat it too. Okay. So they start playing with the snow, and they'll even roll in it sometimes. And we'll also throw a bunch of food in there, fruit and vegetables. We'll hide them inside the snow. So when they're digging in there, they'll find something like that. And once they do find it, then they'll continue to just dig and dig. And they're so smart. When I'm working with these elephants, I could just see their intelligence. Oh, I just love them. They're like almost like my family.
As the sun reaches its midday mark, the air is alive with the sounds and sights of an African safari at the heart of Africa.
The Heart of Africa is a unique experience. It allows our guests to become immersed in the landscape with animals around them. And we virtually have removed the exhibit barriers between the animals and the humans to allow them to feel what it would be like walking through Africa. We start with lesser kudu, we go to giant eland, and then we go to the dark Belgian Congo and immerse them in okapi. The okapi are actually the closest relative to the giraffe. They have a lot of similarities. The tongue, which is about 16 inches long, they eat and forage the same way a giraffe does. The coloration is that of a cinnamon velour coat. The black and white stripes on the rump actually help to camouflage the animal in the dappled lighting of the forest. When you see this species, it really makes you in awe of what this whole landscape is like and how these animals interact with their environment. The flamingos that you see in Heart of Africa are actually two species. You have the greater flamingo and the lesser flamingo. This is a very unique group of animals that we see here simply because of the fact that we now see them both breeding and hatching all year round. And so when you come to the park and you walk through Heart of Africa, you almost always see hatchlings of all sizes.
He likes this.
The unique experience for our visitors is that they can actually hand feed a giraffe. So literally, a guest will be eye to eye with a 16-foot tall animal feeding them, which is a very unique experience that you very seldom see anywhere in the world. When you first come through Heart of Africa, you pick up a booklet that is a notebook of a researcher on a hike through Africa. As you follow it through and you read what species you come across, it will give you the experience of finding your way yourself, like you are an explorer in Africa.
And what African safari would be complete without an exploration of a field research station?
Hi, welcome to the Jameson Research Island. My name's Andrea and I'm so excited that you guys are here today. Have you ever wanted to do research? Well, I'm so glad that you guys are here. We have so many fun things to show you. Let me show you around. Follow me this way. Have you ever seen an aardvark before? Look at him eat. Isn't that great? What would aardvarks eat in the wild, do you think? They love termites. Do you guys ever wonder how people eat when they're out in the field doing research? Follow me this way. I'll show you how we cook. This is a solar oven. Now, when you're out in the field doing research, it's kind of hard to find electricity, right? So we use the energy from the sun. It fills up all of these panels, it can reflect off of here, and you can cook things inside here. Look at this equipment. Kind of weird, huh? Have you ever wondered how to track animals? You can use this device right here called a radio transmitter, or radio telemetry is what we call it, and we can use the signal with a radar device and actually track an animal. You want to try it? Okay, go ahead and put this on for me. Tell me when you hear the beep the loudest.
No.
Guess what you found? Cheetahs. If you look right over this hillside, the cheetahs are right up over that hill.
Cheetahs are not only being studied in far-off Africa, they are one of many animals researchers learn more about each day at the Center for Reproduction of Endangered Species, or CRES, at the Wild Animal Park.
Good boy.
Researcher Susan Millard-Davis studies cheetahs at the CRES compound.
Cheetahs are just a very unique cat. They're very different than other large cats. They're very tolerant of us being fairly close to them physically, working in and around them to where you couldn't do that with other large cats. It gives us wonderful opportunities to study them and learn very unique things about them. When we first started working with cheetahs, we really knew very little about their reproductive behavior, their reproductive biology. We found that they're very selective in their mates. So if you don't have a reasonable size population, where you can try pairing a variety of individuals and get that right combination, it can be difficult to have reproduction. We have been very successful. We have had around 118 cubs born at this facility. Having a litter of cubs is never taken for granted. It's certainly something that we're very enthused about, and a lot of efforts go into having that situation come about. They can run very fast. They've been clocked at up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. For very short distances though, maybe up to about 300 yards. Cheetahs are listed as endangered species. They suffer from the same thing that many other species suffer from as far as loss of habitat, loss of prey species, not enough space.
The number of endangered species continues to increase around the world, and some can even be found in our own backyard. The Wild Animal Park's Condor Ridge exhibits some of North America's rarest residents, including a first-time ever opportunity to view one of the most endangered birds in the U.S., the California condor. In 1987, only 27 California condors were left in the world. That's when a concerted conservation effort began, by bringing the last of the wild condors into special breeding facilities like this at the San Diego Wild Animal Park.
Every chick that we produce is important to the recovery of the species back into the wild.
Their precious eggs are diligently cared for by a specially trained staff. After about 2 months, the chick begins to peck through its shell. Slowly, painstakingly, the tiny chick breaks free.
Ooh, there it is. It's starting to hatch. Be careful of the eyes. Okay, I don't want to pull that umbilicus, so just follow me.
Because every chick is a potential candidate for release back into the wild, keepers need to ensure the youngsters do not bond with humans. So they've come up with an ingenious approach to hand-raise the chicks using this condor-shaped puppet. Working from behind a curtain and looking through one-way glass, keepers manipulate the hand puppet to provide all of the chick's needs, making sure the chick never sees the human behind the condor mask.
Some of the activities performed via the puppet are feeding the chick, interacting socially with the chick, grooming the chick, and in cleaning the nest area.
When the chick is 3 to 6 months old, it's time to leave its home at the Wild Animal Park and travel to a new location. There it will be released back to the wild, to fly free, just as its ancestors once did.
We now have birds flying free in California and in Arizona. And now some of those birds that we have hatched here at the Wild Animal Park are now beginning to lay eggs in the wild. To be involved in the recovery of a species and to now see that eggs are being produced in the wild from some of the birds that were raised here at the Wild Animal Park is very satisfying.
And the California condor isn't the only North American species in peril featured at Condor Ridge. The bighorn sheep, who live in the rugged desert habitat just east of San Diego, are losing their battle for survival.
And certainly, when you're looking at the animals that are endangered in the United States, this is one of the most incredible species that we have to work with. It is a species that has such an incredible grandeur. It's just absolutely spectacular.
The peninsular bighorn sheep has been declared endangered by the federal government. The population, estimated at more than 1 million in the early 1800s, has shriveled to less than 300 today. A few years ago, scientists descended upon Anza Borrego to find out what was triggering an alarming new round of deaths. They came by helicopter, capturing the bighorn sheep with nets and carrying them off to medical stations, where researchers collected blood and DNA samples. Results of the study showed that disease is not the enemy, people are, by tampering with the bighorn sheep's environment, cutting off water supplies and grazing areas.
When you look at the areas that they are drawn to for sustenance, for forage, for water, they are in direct competition with man.
Armed with results of the bighorn study, government agencies, a California university, and the San Diego Wild Animal Park developed a strategic plan to help save the bighorn's habitat and create new water sources. But in the end, the survival of this magnificent animal rests with every desert visitor.
Every time you step off the trail, every time you pick a plant, every time you damage a watershed, you actually are imperiling the species that live there, both plants and animals. And that is part of the education message that we need to get across.
Saving the native plants that animals need to survive is equally important. With more than 3,000 different types of plants, the Wild Animal Park is a certified botanical garden.
We have over 11 specialty gardens ranging from the cactus and succulent native California to Australian rainforest, everything in between. There's interesting tales about plants. For instance, we have a Micaelia champaca, and that's a source of joy perfume. We have plants such as pimenta, which gives us allspice, which is used with all kinds of different things, whether it's seasoning or fragrances. And then we have some of the oddities. One of those is the Idria culminaris, or the boojum tree. We have the largest collection of Baja plant material anywhere in the world in our cactus and succulent gardens. In fact, all cactus are succulents, but not all succulents are cactus. And that's something you're going to learn at the Wild Animal Park. So you'll always find something in the garden. The longer you're there, the more you're going to see.
Nowhere is that balance of nature more apparent than in the hidden jungle, where exotic butterflies greet those who pause to appreciate their beauty.
When you see the look on some people's faces, and particularly when, say, a butterfly lands on them as they're standing there watching something else, it's kind of an electric moment.
These colorful creatures come from countries like Malaysia, Honduras, El Salvador, and Costa Rica. The butterflies are raised on farms in the rainforest where local workers harvest the eggs from plants in the forest. The pupae are carefully wrapped and shipped to San Diego, where they're unpacked and hung in a hatching room. When they emerge from their cocoon, they're released into their new home, the hidden jungle.
What we're hoping our guests take away from an experience like Hidden Jungle is an appreciation for why we should be concerned about a rainforest that occurs on another continent and how it is affecting us. It's important that people walk away realizing they are stewards of our planet and they can make a positive impact on how we preserve our natural heritage, the Earth itself.
Outside the hidden jungle, twilight brings a special magic to the Wild Animal Park, offering a glimpse of the secret nocturnal world of some of the Earth's rarest animals. As the moon rises over the fields, another day draws to a close at the San Diego Wild Animal Park. The guests have all gone home, and the keepers make one last check of their charges to ensure a safe and sweet night's sleep for all.